Welcome to Focus Mastermind, where we focus on what we are conscious of. And as we talk about what we're aware of, we want your opinion. So always feel free to comment below, but just make sure you're an adult about it and so we can learn from each other. My name's Jason. This is Oscar. And Oscar, what today do you want to start focusing on?
Well, nice to have everybody here. Honestly, man, the first topic I want to talk about is mental health. I don't believe that a lot of people really talk about this enough. I don't believe that people really want to bring their feelings out, especially in this time. The past year has been one of the craziest years that we've all kind of been through, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I want to talk about it a little bit.
Do you want to share a story that you had?
Yes. So I have a really good friend of mine. I've known her for a while, and maybe about a month ago, I actually started realizing the battles that he was going through. Never once did it cross my mind that he was facing this demons or illnesses, whatever people want to call it. You know what I mean? But it makes you realize like how many other people are walking around every day, putting with a smile, acting like everything's cool, but deep down inside, they're depressed or hurting. You know what I mean? They want to like not be here anymore,
Yeah,
and they really don't have anybody to talk to.
I think Robin Williams is probably for me, the most visible example of that, where he was like a super popular comedian, super popular, and he committed suicide because he was not mentally healthy. And the funniest, happiest person, I think he's the biggest example of that not being true on the inside just because it's on the outside.
Yeah, it's like people say all the time. Check on your happy friends. They're the ones that are hurting the most, and to a point, it's kind of true. Um, this past year, it's been the craziest year in my life personally. I've been going through a divorce, been a single dad, dealing with work, kids, my own personal stuff. Yeah, it's pretty wild, man.
It is wild. I
Yeah.
am only a single husband or whatever you want to call not having a kid. Uh, and time is very valuable. And I can imagine, well, I can't imagine, I don't know, having a kid sounds really, really, really stressful because I can only imagine the stress of teaching a little human how to live the right way when we messed up completely growing up, and do we even know what's going on right now? Yeah,
I don't think
but
we do. You know what I mean? Sometimes I wake up and it's like, the fuck am I doing? Like, am I
yeah,
doing the right thing for them? But just gotta trust your gut.
and I think that depresses people when they don't know what they're doing, and if they don't have good places to find help, So
Yeah.
I don't know if you know any places that offer help like that.
Man, honestly, I've reached out to maybe like two or three people. Um, one of the first persons that I reached out to when I was actually facing my feelings when everything was coming out, this girl named Courtney, bro. She's been a friend of mine on Facebook for a while. She's been, to me, she was one of the happiest persons ever. You know what I mean? She was always smiling. She was always like so outgoing, so bright. Never talked to her in my life. One day I reached out to her and I was like, hey, bro, like I'm having a really bad day. Like, how do you deal with your bad days? Coming to find out, she was battling depression since she was a little girl. Try to, suicide attempts a couple of times. Fucking blew my mind, man. That just another example how people that are smiling, happy, total opposite on the inside. But
Yeah,
to anybody that's watching this, if you guys are battling with anything, feel free to comment. Feel free to, email us, reach out. We're here for you guys. Everybody's here for each other.
yeah. And the whole point of reaching out is to express. how you feel so you can move past feelings that don't need to become realities. You don't
Hmm.
want to die. I don't think people that commit suicide want to die, but they don't. I study psychology a lot. I don't have a degree, but I'm very confident in saying that if you don't express how you feel, you don't have a chance to move past that point of reality. And the longer you stay in there, the more opportunities you give yourself. I have known people that have attempted suicide and they attempt it every couple months. There's every, 3 to 6 months, they'll try to find a special time to their family or friends just to. I don't understand the psychology of it, but they look for special times to commit suicide, whether it's a birthday or Christmas or anniversaries. And I don't know the psychology of it, but if you maybe some of y'all can express that, like, maybe you don't know that you're doing it, but are you looking like at certain times, certain special impactful days, or is it just a random day? Because the interactions I've had is it's always been attempted. If I can get somebody to admit that they've attempted suicide, it's always been on a day that maybe it's really sad for them, like divorces or birthdays they were raped as a kid. So every birthday they just want to kill themselves because of the memories, you know, the depression that they won't get out that they were raped on their birthday. And it's
Well,
yeah, trust me, the psychology is really deep. And I was able to walk somebody off of a bridge one day. They jokingly came into work and they were crying. I was like, "Are you suicidal or something?" And they said yes. And I was like, "Oh,
wow.
oh dear, what do I do now?" So I asked a lot of questions about how they felt, and then eventually I asked them, "Did you grow up thinking that life should get better all the time? Like as you grow up, like it shouldn't be harder, like when you grow up, things will get easier." And they were like, "Yep." Like I imagined life getting better as I got older, and it's just still, and this person was in their 30s, so you have like, but I think, well, I know from this person's, they just thought life was supposed to get better. And I was like, somebody lied to you.
That is
Somebody
one
lied to
big,
you that life is supposed to get, I know, I hope you don't mind me just letting it out there, but I've known you for a long time, and you do these extreme amounts of trying to be happy all the time, but you completely, almost completely ignore the bad shit in your life.
hmm
And then all of a sudden it piles up and you have to look at it, you have to talk about it, you have to walk through it. And I think we all do that. It's not just you, but I think that's the pattern.
I think it's just human nature to try to put everything in the back. You know what I mean? I mean, you're absolutely
It's
right, dude.
a
That's what
self-defense
happened.
mechanisms, and I think
Yeah.
all of us do it to a degree that we can handle it or perceivably handle it. And I do the same things. I don't talk about my stuff. In fact, I can't tell you. I just hear through a lot of conversation, and I think it makes sense anecdotally that men tend to have more suicides than women because men are trained to be tough, walk it off, quit crying, and women are allowed to cry, and
So
daddy's allowed.
that's
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up, man. One thing that I've heard a lot from, I'm always the person that people go and talk to, right? I'm like the Mexican Dr. Phil or whatever. One of the things that I run into a lot with males, especially, and I tell them like, bro, why don't you talk about your feelings? And it's like, I'm not a little bitch, you know,
that's right.
bro. We are human beings. If you don't talk about your feelings, you're gonna fuck yourself up at the end. That's plain and simple. But you're absolutely right. Females, they've been I guess it's like the stigma, like, oh yeah, they can cry, they can, do this and that. And for males, it's like you gotta be tough. You can't cry, you can ask for help. Fuck that, bro. Ask for help if you need help. You know what I mean? I'm a very fucking emotional person, bro. Like I'll tell you right now, if I have a feeling about crying, I'm gonna fucking cry, dude. I don't really care. It
Yeah,
makes me feel better.
it's important.
Hmm.
I've studied psychology for a very long time and kind of grew up as that type of, Zen person, I guess, and uh, it wasn't healthy to try to, you know, be always positive all the time. You and me have done some interesting observations and with, like manifesting things, but that stuff doesn't happen instantly. I think there's some situations, but it gets a little borderline. Should you do that type of stuff or not? That's actually one of the things I wanted to go into. So I think that's a good segue into this next subject. But when it comes to depression, uh, feel free to comment below, your opinion on this. Do not be a douchebag. Do not be, you know, don't be that person. Just share your feelings if you feel comfortable. If you don't, keep them to yourself for now, but look for some type of way to speak about it so you can decide to do what's next. Because you're not deciding to do what's next because you won't talk about it.
You
You,
haven't figured out the next step. You're absolutely right.
yeah,
Yeah.
you are your own healer. You literally know all the answers, but you don't know the answers because your mind is full of the problem you're having right now. So if you share with somebody or something, it could be a stuffed animal. If you share your thoughts out loud, physically speaking, verbally, with some form of volume, it doesn't have to be loud. It could be a whisper. Speaking it strongly is probably better, but once you speak it out, you leave space for an answer inside of your head. And I can say confidently, people don't want to commit suicide. They just don't know what to do besides suicide. So if you
Hmm.
express your suicidal thoughts, you will be able to leave space for an answer of what to do besides that. So so let it be and let it free so you can invite something else in to tackle next because life is up and down. It's a roller coaster. And if anybody lies to you that life should get better and better and better, they're lying to you. Life is a roller coaster. Never forget that. So that way, when shit hits the fan and your life sucks, remember that it's about to get good. And after it gets good, it's going to suck again. And enjoy the experience while you're here on Earth. If you're here listening to the podcast, click the like so more people can get reached out to this. Um, I personally want to do this to create a situation where we get to focus on what me and Oscar are aware of, and then you can teach us what you know so we can bring attention to subjects that need to be focused on.